All right. It's a bit later in the day, but it's better late than never. And I don't know what time I'll be able to get to this tomorrow, because I have a lot going on, yo. So, we're going to get started. The Baron Trump collection. I'm trying to be quiet. It's late, and I don't want to keep anybody awake. Okay. So we set it for 10 minutes, and I'm starting on page 162. Okay. It grew black before me. A fit of vertigo came upon me. I staggered, reeled, fell lifeless to the floor. When I came to my senses, so too servants were busy rubbing and chafing my hands and feet, and burning pungent wax beneath my nostrils. Bulger, uttering the most piteous and anxious cries, was hastening from one side to the other, pausing now and then for an instant to lick my hand or face. I sat upright to collect my senses. Then, clasping Bulger in my arms, I patted, smoothed, kissed, and caressed him amid 100 sighs and groans, heart-rending enough to melt a breast of stone. Then, throwing myself on my knees in front of Sotu, I implored him to be merciful, to spare a faithful, loving being whose heart was as free from guile as the flinty rock from tenderness, whose life had but one thought: to serve, guard, defend, save his master. "Rise, unfortunate stranger," was Sotu's reply, in a tone of deep commiseration, taking me by the hand and gently compelling me to be seated by his side. "List, if thou shouldst slice my body into 10,000 pieces, I could not revoke this decree. Know that in this land of the child of the sun, a magistrate may not unsay his words. Mercy belongs to him who dwells in higher places." Hold on, I lost my place. "Know that in this land of the child of the sun, a magistrate may not unsay his words. Mercy belongs to him who dwells in higher places. This creature which thou lovest so hath been adjudged to be an evil spirit. It is a favorite form of theirs, for as the dog is man's close and trusted companion, benevolent spirits are most likely to assume that form when desirous of obtaining admission to his house and heart in order to work his ruin. This wild and unreasoning affection for thy dog proves only too clearly that the evil spirit which dwells within him has already drawn the black lines of his mysterious art thrice around thy soul. Thrice, 3 times, will complete his dread purpose. Thou wilt then be lost forever. 'Tis well that some good spirit of the air or water hath delivered thee into the keeping of the child of the sun. For now, upon the trial in the imperial chamber of perfect justice, thine eyes will be opened, and thou wilt be fully persuaded that an evil spirit of tremendous size and fearful power is squeezed into that small creature." "Never," I exclaimed with flashing eye and glowing cheek. So too smiled faintly, and laying his hand upon my arm, continued, "Soft, illustrious guest, thou forgettest that perfect justice dwells in the bosom of our gracious monarch. His ministers and judges have tongues, but they are not their own. They only utter the thought of the imperial mind. Therefore, what they decree must be right. And if the court," I inquired with bated breath, should decree that some evil spirit hath taken up its abode, as thou claimest, in the body of my faithful Bulger? What would be the penalty? Death, whispered So too. And is this thy boasted justice? I cried with tear bedimmed eyes, to condemn a dumb creature to death with no voice to plead for him? Nay, uttered So too. Thou shalt speak for him. Thou shalt be heard in his behalf. Thou shalt be his advocate. For this mercy, said I, my heart empties its thanks at thy feet, and if my words, my pleading, prove not powerful enough to avert the fearful penalty thou hast named, the executioner shall but whet his axe on that small neck, for I shall lay my head beside this dearer head that than shoulders ever bore, blow out the spark that illumines those loving eyes, and all this great world could not light a fire bright enough to cast the gloom out of my life. So too shook his head mournfully, but made no reply. Calling my men to me, I spoke as follows. Go, honest souls, I cannot be one of you. Return to your homes and firesides. An imperial escort will conduct you to the port of Canton. There, beneath some friendly flag, you will find means to reach your native land. Peace and good fortune go with you. Then turning to my first mate, I added, Seek out thy father, the elder baron, and impart unto him the story of my shipwreck, the arrest of Bulger, and my firm determination to save him from the terrible fate now impending, or to die with him. The elder baron knows my love for Bulger. He would deem me a degenerate son of his illustrious house, were I to abandon this faithful companion of my dangers and sufferings to so unmerited a fate. Go, place this signet ring on thy finger, deliver it to my mother, with my most dutiful and humble greeting. Be wise, be brave, be honest. My men now formed in single file, and as they passed in front of me, each one paused and pressed my hand to their lips. Bulger, too, was ready for the leave-taking. Mounted upon a chair at my side, he extended his right paw to each seaman. Tears streamed down their weather-beaten faces, and they invoked blessings on the head of their brave little companion who had saved them from deep grave and briny waters. Scarcely were they out of my sight when a deafening beating of gongs announced the arrival of the guard. My heart slipped from its resting place. A cold sweat gathered in the beads on my temples. It is only with the greatest effort that I could draw breath enough to keep me from sinking lifeless to the floor. So too murmured a word of sympathy. At the sight of the gallows and sounds of the chains, I uttered a piercing cry and threw myself at the knees of Bulger, clasped tightly in my arms. Poor innocent beast! He was utterly unable to comprehend the actions of those about him. He shall be well treated, murmured So too. Fear not for his safety or comfort. The gaolers now advanced, and stooping down, clasped the delicate manacles which were of polished silver upon Bulger's feet. He looked up at me with eyes so speaking, so full of love, and so trusting, that I could not bear their gaze. It meant, I submit without a murmur, for I know that thou wouldst not let any harm come to me. Then one of the guards lifted him gently and placed him in a silk-lined hamper, slung upon 2 poles. The lid was quickly adjusted and fastened. And ere I could collect my senses to speak a last farewell, they hurried away with their prisoner. for it was plain to be seen their hearts were deeply moved by my woeful countenance and grief-shaken voice. At so too solicitation, I now went to rest. Rest, alas, how could I sleep to get into my tearful eyes? How could sleep get into my tearful eyes? All night long I lay awake, bemoaning the sad fate which had overtaken me. Had accusation and arrest fallen upon me, I would have borne it like a man, but that Bulger's loving heart should have been singled out to bear a blow so undeserved was almost death to me. As the hours dragged wearily along, I thought of reversing my order, sending my men away, and of attempting a rescue. I thought of schemes to bribe the gaoler. Okay. 10 manitos. So we're going to start right here. And we first started on page 162. Okay. Quit procrastinating on anything and everything. Time wasted is just that, time wasted. Avoid distractions and the noise around me. Block it out. The art of continuous self-love through food, through water intake, through intentional meditation and thought. Something inside of me is superior to circumstance. Is it kind? Is it true? Does it reflect my authentic self? Focus more on money and its education. Focus more on self-discipline. See the sun, honor the moon. Forward momentum. The path out of hell is through misery. Honor my journey. We are slaves to our own incessant urges to escape the present moment. Meditate, walk, journal, stretch, love animals. Leave life to wander all it needs. Less stress, more fairy tale. Work on bettering the love I show my body through the food and beverage I put in it. With money, it's not what you make, but what you keep. Focus. Lose any ties to victim mentality. Continue to help yourself. Yeah. I wrote all that. What was it? 2019. Over the course of a year of daily journal planning. And that was like at the end of the year what I put together, what I got out of the book as a whole. Anyway, I'm tired. It's late.